Good morning, fantasy. It is Tuesday, March 1st. Welcome to March, everybody. It's time to get a little bit of rain outside if you're in the Midwest, especially. The Midwest spring is the most fake experience of all time until you reach at least April. Because until then, it's going to be just like highs and lows of like 30 degrees, 60 degrees, 50, 40, 45, rain, snow, sleet, name it all. It's pretty much it's gonna happen every day in the Midwest. It is a constant cluster of nonsense in the Midwest when it comes to picking the correct form of weather to expect every day on a given basis. It changes literally constantly. I remember one day specifically at a track practice high school. It snowed, was sunny, and poured down rain all within an hour. And that's just a normal day in Ohio, honestly. But in the Midwest, weather is a big factor, and I'm looking forward to it getting warmer so I can at least wear shorts sometimes. That's besides the point. It is March, everybody, which means March Madness was right around the corner, which is very exciting. If you're listening to the podcast, maybe we can do a listeners' league together for a bracket. That'd be really fun. Let me know down below if any of you guys are interested in that idea. I think that'd be really cool. Moving on, though, we have some interesting stuff to hit on today. We have a little bit of insight into some drama that is brewing in the NFL right now with Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. We'll just jump right into that, guys, here. Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals, the only big news story over the last 24 hours here developing. Kyler Murray, within the last 2 weeks or so, I'd say, deleted all of his Arizona Cardinals information from his Instagram page, all of his posts except for like 2 pictures, not in Cardinals stuff. And then the Arizona Cardinals did a funny thing, and they deleted all their pictures except for 2 pictures of Kyler. But that was a little bit of like just weirdness, a little awkward situation out there in the sports world. But it came out today. His agent released a statement. It was a really long statement. A lot of people on Twitter didn't even read the whole thing, and it's kind of funny. I read the whole thing. It was shocking. I know I can read. And basically what I got from it was Kyler Murray is a good young quarterback, and the Arizona Cardinals should commit to him fully by giving him a nice contract. He deserves it by being a very young quarterback who's been capable and led their team to great success after being a bad franchise until he arrived. So basically they're saying, hey, in order for Kyler to really go all in here in Arizona and give his 100,000, 10%, the Arizona Cardinals should feel the same way and give him a nice contract. I personally do not have a problem with the way this is being handled. I obviously would prefer behind closed doors, but I think as long as it's in a respectful manner, these players are very young, man. I mean, players in the NFL, obviously Kyler Murray is a young man, and eventually he's going to get paid. Obviously, I'm more on the side of wait your turn to get paid, wait in line and be patient. But Kyler Murray's a good NFL player, He's been good for a couple of years now, and I don't mind him requesting to get his bag. Players in the NFL, I mean, it's short, and while they do make a lot of money, might as well try to get as much as he can, So I really don't hate it. As far as drama-wise goes, I don't really see it impacting his fantasy football stock at all here. I see this being a pretty small offseason story as a whole. He's not going to get traded. He's not going to get cut. He's going to be an Arizona Cardinal, like it or not, and he's going to show up week 1, be ready, prepared. Hopefully he doesn't hold out in training camp, but even if he does, I'm not too concerned about that with a quarterback. I'd be more concerned about a running back or wide receiver getting out of shape, but Kyler Murray will stay prepared, and I think he'll still be an elite fantasy option moving forward. I actually have seen some people on Twitter say that his stock has gone down a little bit because of this, so maybe send out some trade offers for Kyler Murray in your leagues. If you have Kyler, now is not the time to sell, but if you're buying, it's a buyer's market right now for Kyler Murray, which is awesome. Speaking of buyer's market for Arizona Cardinals players, DeAndre Hopkins is a huge value right now, in my opinion. I think that we're just a year removed from him being arguably the best, most talented wide receiver in the NFL, up there with Devontae Adams last season coming into this past year. But now D-Hop, after 1 season with the Arizona Cardinals being injury-riddled, didn't play very much, and when he was a bit limited. But, I mean, he's still DeAndre freaking Hopkins, guys. So, come on. People have him outside of their top 15 in Dynasty wide receiver rankings right now, and I think that's way too unjustified. He's not that old. He's 29. I play in a 3-year window for Dynasty Fantasy Football. DeAndre Hopkins will still be putting up numbers by the time he's 32 years old. I mean, he is an elite Hall of Fame level wide receiver, in my opinion, and I think DeAndre Hopkins will be producing for a very long time in the NFL. I think he is extremely cheap right now, and if you're a contender especially, I'd be going all in on some DeAndre Hopkins in my Dynasty Fantasy Football leagues. Go out there and send out a trade offer. I really don't think it'd be that expensive. I think you might be able to buy him for an early second-round draft pick right now, maybe. I feel like his value is similar to Ezekiel Elliott's right now in Dynasty, where everyone feels like he's about to fall off a cliff. I personally don't think so. I think DeAndre Hopkins is going to have another great season, tied to Kyler Murray as being the true wide receiver one in that offense for the Arizona Cardinals. And I think D-Hop right now is a fantastic value and a great buy in dynasty leagues. And I think he's going to be a great value in redraft leagues as well this year. I'm going to scoop up a lot of DeAndre Hopkins in the third and fourth round as my wide receiver one. Going to be loving that all day long. Give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. All right, moving into our next segment here, guys. Fantasy mystery players. What this means for me is players whose future are extremely uncertain, especially in dynasty fantasy football. Their value could be up or down depending a lot on where they land, when they're available to play, and what their future looks like. So let's just dive into it here. I have a list of a few guys who want to talk about their futures. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter episode today. Not a lot to talk about, but that's totally fine. Up first here, we have Cordero Patterson, X factor this past season for the Atlanta Falcons offense. Atlanta Falcons. I thought I got Cardinals and Falcons mixed up in my brain there for a second. They're both red birds. It's confusing. We all get it. Anyway, Cordero Patterson was an elite level X factor this season for the Atlanta Falcons. His entire career, he was always kind of heralded as a kick return offensive weapon kind of specialist. But now we've seen in the recent years in the NFL that these like X factor type players have really been utilized a lot more than in previous seasons. And guys like Cordero Patterson, Deebo Samuel, Jalen Waddle, Laviska Shenault, guys like that have really gained a lot more value in the NFL more recently. And I think that Cordero Patterson is a prime example of what this could look like. A guy who can run the ball, catch the ball, do a little bit of everything. Nice red zone threat. He had a fantastic fantasy season this past year. And I think if he returns to the Arizona Cardinals and the Atlanta Falcons. See, I got mixed up. If he returns to the Atlanta Falcons next season and Calvin Ridley is not playing for the team again, I think he once again will be an elite fantasy option. For Dynasty, his value is very confusing right now. It's really going to depend on how his free agency shakes out with the Atlanta Falcons there. But Cordero Patterson's a really interesting buy low candidate right now for contenders, in my opinion. If you're a rebuilding team, I would kind of hold on to him and see what his value looks like and then probably sell him in season to a contender. But for now, I think he's a hold or a buy. I'm not selling him right now because I think his value is low. So hold or buy Cordero Patterson. His future is shaky, but I think his price relative to his fantasy production is great if you're buying right now. Moving down the list here, Michael Thomas. Again, another dynasty buy for me. Elite wide receiver talent when he's on the field. Who knows what his future looks like with the New Orleans Saints? He might be out of there. Head coaching change, though, in New Orleans, so you never really know. A new quarterback going to be like coming in as well this year. But Michael Thomas is an elite NFL wide receiver one. He is an elite fantasy football option, especially in full point PPR leagues. I'm absolutely going out and buying Michael Thomas shares or holding Michael Thomas shares. Do not sell him right now. He is cheap. I've said this about Travis Etienne. I'll say it about a bunch of other players who gets injured over this offseason. The second he touches an NFL field, his value goes up exponentially. The second he touches an NFL field, his value goes up exponentially. Because right now, the only problem holding Michael Thomas back is the question mark surrounding his availability, where he's going to play next, what's it going to look like for him in the future. I'm here to tell you this right now. Michael Thomas is not going anywhere anytime soon as far as talent, and if he lands anywhere good enough for fantasy production that it makes him any relevant, Michael Thomas is going to be fantastic moving forward. So definitely go out and send a trade offer out for Michael Thomas. I think he turned to New Orleans, but I think it's likely he can go elsewhere and thrive somewhere else. I think Michael Thomas is an elite wide receiver who will be a fantastic fantasy option this season as well. Moving on the list here to the guy I am most interested in buying right now is Calvin Ridley. This guy was in the conversation as a top 3 dynasty wide receiver this past year, but he took some time off with some mental health issues, some personal issues, a bit of a finding yourself situation in my opinion, a lot of mental health, taking breaks away from football, which is healthy. I'm glad that the young man took the time he needed away from the game, and I think he is an absolute smash buy in dynasty fantasy football. Amazing talent. Amazing situation with the Atlanta Falcons if he returns to Atlanta whenever he comes back to the field. But I honestly don't care where he goes. Regardless of where Calvin Ridley lands, I'm in. He is an exceptionally talented real-life wide receiver who has a huge fantasy ceiling as a true dominant alpha wide receiver one with a ton of PPR potential, high yardage totals, high touchdown totals. Calvin Ridley is the total package, and I absolutely adore him for fantasy football. Go buy some Calvin Ridley shares. That's all I have to say. Next up, we have 2 guys I'll kind of package into one here, a double sentiment here. Juju Smith-Schuster and Will Fuller. More for Juju Smith-Schuster, young, talented wide receiver, had been misused recently by the Pittsburgh Steelers, putting him in the slot and not targeting him very often. I think he reminds me a lot of Jarvis Landry. High volume, talented wide receiver. He can play in the slot and outside. Juju has a really good future. I think he's honestly going to be leaving Pittsburgh this offseason. I think he's going to be going to a team like the Chiefs. And that would be an immense upgrade to his fantasy value. I would love to see him go get paid somewhere and play with a high-powered offense that the Steelers are not right now rebuilding, looking for a new quarterback. Juju Smith-Schuster is a fantastic dynasty buy. He's only 25 years old, guys. 25 years old. That is absolutely ridiculous of how much experience he has in the NFL. He's an absolutely star player, in my opinion, in the right situation. And for fantasy football, I think he can be a wide receiver 2 to wide receiver 3. And those guys are great value always. Juju Smith-Schuster, sign up. I'm in. Moving down the list here, last but not least, Will Fuller. Injured this past season for the Miami Dolphins, didn't really get a chance to sign. I think it makes sense for him to return to the Dolphins on another one-year deal. Get another chance here to run back here with Tua Tagovailoa and company alongside Jalen Waddle. Will Fuller had a great season in the Houston Texans. He did use PEDs 2 years ago in the 2020 NFL season, but I'm still very interested in his dynasty stock. Go send out a second-round pick for him in a trade. I'll keep it short. I'll keep it sweet for you guys today. Buy Will Fuller, buy Juju, buy Calvin Ridley, buy Michael Thomas, buy or hold Cordell Patterson, and that's about it. Buy DeAndre Hopkins as well. Much love to everybody. Shorter episode today. Not that much to talk about. I will see you guys tomorrow. Happy March, everybody. Have a great Tuesday. Much love. Thank you for making the show a part of your daily routine. Make sure you guys like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Drop a follow if you're on Apple Podcasts and leave a review. It really helps the show grow and thank you for making the show a part of your daily routine. See you guys tomorrow. Good morning and have a great day. Goodbye.